Good evening. Welcome to Wellington Country Park. Time to settle in for an evening story with us. Socks and Mittens go exploring. It was a bright sunny day in the garden. Socks and Mittens were busy chasing the leaves that danced in the breeze when Socks sighed. "What's the matter?" asked Mittens. "Why do you seem so sad?" "I'm not sad," replied Socks. "I'm bored. I want to go on an adventure." "What sort of adventure?" asked Mittens. "You don't mean you want to leave the garden, do you?" "Why not?" said Socks. "We're not kittens anymore. We should be allowed to go exploring." And off Socks went to the end of the garden. Mittens wasn't so sure that it was a good idea, but she followed Socks anyway. Someone needed to keep her out of trouble. With a quick glance to make sure the humans weren't watching, they squeezed through the gap in the hedge. "Wow!" cried Socks and Mittens together. "What on earth is that?" Trundling along in front of them was a huge tractor ploughing a field. "It sounds angry," said Mittens. "Maybe we should explore somewhere else." But Socks had already gone. Bounding up to the tractor, she tried to catch the dirt as it flew up in the air. "Come on, Mittens," she called. "This is fun." Anxiously, Mittens followed her sister, but within minutes they were darting around, catching dirt and chasing each other. "What are you doing?" came an unusual voice. It was the farmer. "You can't play here. It's dangerous and you'll get hurt. You'll have to explore somewhere else." Socks and Mittens stopped playing and looked upset. "Where should we go now?" wondered Mittens. "Let's try over there. It looks—" But before she could finish her sentence, Socks had already run to the other side of the field and climbed on top of a huge pile of hay bales. "Come on, Mittens," Socks yelled. "Don't be a scaredy cat." And she beckoned Mittens to the top. "Wow!" whispered Mittens. "Look at that. We can see for miles. I wonder how long it would take us to explore all of that." "Only one way to find out," said Socks. "Let's make it our mission to explore everything we can see. But first, you need to catch me." Socks darted left. Socks darted right. She jumped high up into the air. She jumped down onto the ground. All the while, Mittens followed in hot pursuit, missing her by a fraction of a whisker each time. They were just starting to really enjoy themselves when they heard an unusual squawk. "Excuse me, but you seem to be in our resting area." It was a seagull and a flock of his friends. "This is where we sit and wait for the farmer to plough up all the gummy treats from the ground." "Oh, we're sorry," said Mittens. "We didn't know that was yours. We were just exploring." "If you want to explore," continued the seagull, "may I suggest the riverbank down there? There are lots of places to hide and explore, but be careful. Water is very cold and very deep." "Thanks," answered Socks. "Let's go and—" But before she could finish her sentence, Socks had already raced across the field to the river. The seagull was right. There was tall grass to hide in, leaves to chase, mice to catch. Socks and Mittens were having so much fun until suddenly— "Ah! Mittens, help!" It was Socks. She had jumped after a leaf as it got caught in the wind, but jumped too far and had landed in the river. Mittens didn't know what to do. She tried to find some long grass to use as a rope, but she couldn't find any strong enough. She tried to use some big leaves as a float, but they wouldn't work either. "Hold on, Socks, I'm going to find some help." "Don't leave me," cried Socks. "I'm not a very good swimmer." "I'll be right back," said Mittens. She ran up the grassy riverbank as quickly as she could. Frantically, she looked around for something that could help and was giving up hope when she had an idea. "I've got it," she thought. Racing past the riverbank and back to the hay bales, she found the seagulls waiting patiently. Mr. Seagull, Mittens panted, please, I need your help. It's Socks. She's fallen into the river and I can't get her out. She can't swim. Lead the way, Mittens, instructed the Seagull, and they all followed Mittens back to the river. Swooping down, Mr. Seagull scooped up Socks with his beak and flew her to safety. You're very lucky, Socks, he said. You could have been hurt. I know, said Socks, hanging her head as she tried to dry herself. I made a mistake. I think I should probably go home now. A very wise idea, replied the Seagull. I'll tell you what. Why don't you and Mittens hop on and we'll give you a ride back home? Oh, thank you, exclaimed Mittens. That's very kind of you. They climbed onto the Seagull's back and showed them the way back to their garden. Could you possibly take us to the hedge? Asked Socks. We weren't supposed to leave the garden. I think our humans might be worried. And sure enough, as they jumped off and snuck back through the hedge, they heard the call of, Socks! Mittens, where are you? And the familiar sound of the treat tin shaking. That was close, said Mittens. I think we'd better stick to exploring the garden for a little bit longer, don't you? Good idea, said Socks. I've had quite enough adventures for one day. And they both bounded up the garden path, purring and meowing all their hellos to their humans.